So the other day, Bryce Mitchell went after Ariel Helwani during his fishing trip with the MMA Guru. Bryce Mitchell called Ariel Helwani all sorts of names, as we're going to see in this video that we're going to watch. And then also on the back of this video, Ariel Helwani responded to what Bryce Mitchell had said, and we're going to have a look at that. I'll read them out, kind of go over what I think about it. And yeah, but before we get into it, please like, subscribe, really helps out. And yeah, let's go. So this is the video, going to play this, and then I'll show the response.
I'm supposed to be meeting Ariel Helwani in a couple of days, but he ended up cancelling Bryce.
Oh, he got scared of you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't like him at all.
No, you're not a fan?
Yeah, I just don't like him.
Yeah.
He's not a real journalist, and I'll tell you why. You want to know why?
Why?
Because he's cancel culture. No real journalist wants to cancel another journalist. They want, if you're my enemy and you're a journalist, I want you to talk to expose yourself.
Yep.
You see what I...
So basically saying that Ariel Helwani is not a real journalist because he's saying he's cancel culture, and I'm going to get into that after the video. But Bryce Mitchell just saying like he doesn't want to talk to people because of maybe he disagrees with their views, which is actually, I guess you could say, like Bryce Mitchell's had run-ins with Ariel Helwani. I think one time, I think it was last year or something like that, he went on the show, or the year before maybe, he went on the show and was maybe saying things were more politically motivated rather than anything that was actually to do with MMA itself, because I imagine that's why Ariel Helwani had Bryce Mitchell on the show, because he wanted to talk MMA, Bryce Mitchell was talking about whatever Bryce Mitchell talks about. So that was probably why he wanted to say that he isn't a real journalist.
I mean, him, he hears something he don't like, and he says, "Oh, let's just cancel this son bitch." You're not a real journalist.
Yeah.
You're a real journalist, Guru.
Thank you, brother.
Because you don't go around canceling people. You're not on this committee of legislation of, hey, let's get this person fired. Let's do that. You just put your shit out, and you respond to your audience.
Yep.
And these motherfuckers, bro, they want to control, and that's what I'm telling you, brother. They're fucking demons. And
so yeah, he's calling them demons, like I guess you could say the mainstream journalists in MMA and maybe sports in general. But also saying that yeah, they're not truthful. They won't talk to anyone who doesn't agree with them. That kind of thing. You know, like the same as before. And also, what was it? It was all kind of kicked off because the MMA Guru said that he was supposed to go on Ariel Helwani's show, and they got cancelled because he was in the United States for like a couple of weeks at the start of the year. And I think he said he tried to get on, and then he just said there that Ariel Helwani cancelled like a couple of days beforehand. So I'll get into that too, because that's that's part of the response from Ariel Helwani as well.
They want people like me to be fucking choked to death, to have nothing, no views, no nothing, no career, and fuck them, bro. That's what they are. They're just demon-filled people with hatred. And it's one thing to disagree, but it's another to say, hey, I'm gonna cancel you, I want you fired, I don't want you to have a job, blah, blah, blah. Screw that, dude.
Okay, so that's the video, and you know, Bryce Mitchell coming out with like quite heavy claims saying that Ariel Helwani wanted to cancel him, and that, you know, which actually didn't happen. That there's no like recorded proof of that. I checked, there's like none. The only like sort of I guess, I don't know, thing said by Ariel Helwani was like, in this, after Bryce Mitchell, ever remembers last year, the start of last year, when Bryce Mitchell's podcast, and he was saying all sorts about, you know, the big H, you know, a certain Austrian World War II leader, saying all of that stuff, trying to keep it friendly for YouTube so this doesn't get taken down somehow. So he was saying all the comments about that, and then afterwards, like the kind of fallout from that, you know, everyone remembers Dana White reading the list about, you know, like certain atrocities during the Second World War and why they shouldn't be made light of, and all that stuff that Bryce Mitchell had commented on. Everyone remembers that, and part of the fallout was like obviously people on YouTube were talking about it. Ariel Helwani was one of these people, and in his thumbnails you can see like, you know, should Bryce Mitchell be punished? Should the UFC punish Bryce Mitchell? Maybe like alluding to maybe he should be punished. But that, and it was like, but he actually said, Ariel Helwani actually said he doesn't want him to lose his job or doesn't want anyone to get fired because they're cage fighters. for whatever reason. Maybe that's to say like maybe they're stupid or something because they get brain damage and then they just so therefore because they're cage fighters and therefore they have brain damage, therefore what anything they say is actually false. Anything that isn't like narratively correct is false and like you know delusional. I guess you could say he was alluding at that. But in terms of explicitly calling for someone's cancellation, including Bryce Mitchell, that hasn't happened. He hasn't said that. So, but I'm going to look at the response now. So the response from Ariel Helwani was this. So this was like the video that came out, and then this is Ariel Helwani's response. So quote, he says, this is in response to what Bryce Mitchell said, because there's kind of a two-part. So it says, what an absolute doll. Hey, Bryce Mitchell, let me know when I have ever advocate for you or anyone else to be fired or cancelled or anything like that, and especially not other media. Good luck finding that, which is true, because I did even check it, you can't find it. The only thing I said is you can find him saying, should he be punished by the UFC, which is like a question, so it technically doesn't even count. And then here he continues saying, in fact, what I have said time and again is that I'm vehemently against cancel culture. Total nonsense coming out of your mouth again. The last time we spoke, you were raving like a lunatic with your toys on my show. I never cut you off. I didn't edit it out. I know you're mad. I haven't asked you back. Sorry. I don't like talking to ignorant dummies. Anyway, let me know in the meantime this fake journalist has an Olympic Games to cover in Italy. And so that was his response to Bryce Mitchell about all the things I just talked about. And, you know, he was on a show. I couldn't actually find the video. I don't know if it was like a live stream maybe, because it's not an actual like recorded video, I don't think. That I guess Bryce Mitchell was on like his show, and he was like, as I said before, like he was on a show and he was, you know, ranting about stuff that didn't have anything to do with MMA, which in fairness is like kind of correct from Ariel Helwani in terms of that, you know, why would he have him on his show if he's not going to talk about MMA in that sense? And then he's saying that this fake journal, and he's like kind of clapping back, being like, this fake journalist is actually doing the Winter Olympics in Italy, and it's like the comparison is like because Ariel Helwani has like always been part of like these big, you know, companies. If you know what I'm trying to say, it was with ESPN. He's now with Yahoo, like Yahoo Sports, and it's like these big media entities, and it's like yeah, he's gonna of course he's gonna do these big things, right? But then it's also he's kind of like I guess you could say Ariel Helwani's more like pressured. He can't really say anything that's out of a like he's quite clamped. I guess you could say like he's under more pressure to not be controversial because he is employed by these big media companies. So I guess you could say there's that rebuttal to him being like, oh, I'm an actual real journalist and stuff like that. But yeah, he's paid by you know these big companies. So there's that. And then this part was the response to MMA Guru, and he said, and hey, obviously it's the continuation from this. So he's like, and hey, MMA Guru, valiant effort asking for all your friends to beg me, or asking all your friends to beg me to come on the show. I respect it. Sorry the dream couldn't be realised just yet. Better luck next time. So, as I said, MMA Guru was like asking Ariel Helwani to go on a show. I guess he might have messaged some of his friends to maybe message the maybe friends that I like more kind of famous people that would be able to connect him with Ariel Helwani, saying like, "Oh, can you get him on a show?" And he didn't go on obviously, but I think there's a reason behind that. I think if it was like because the MMA Guru is obviously like somewhat controversial, not really to me, but like I guess other people could say that. But he's also had this feud with Ariel Helwani for like the past what 5 years, 4 years, where he's kind of whenever Ariel Helwani would do something like say he would like stir up something about a fight or uh, you know something that would be like deemed as I get bad faith, I guess you could say. He's like obviously pushing some sort of agenda involving like fighters. One of the big examples was like Adesanya and Duplessis. Remember when they faced off and or like Adesanya was saying like calling him a cracker and stuff like that, which is obviously racially motivated. Like that's the whole point. Uh, Ariel Helwani was like on Adesanya's side, and because of what is it? it was Duplessis was saying he's African, but then it's like Adesanya saying you're not because you know you're white, like which say it how you want. Um, that's obviously a controversial thing to say. Maybe to some people, no. Maybe to some people that's clear as day, like clear as day fact. But who knows? You know, it depends what side of the aisle you sit. I guess you'd say. But Eddie Houani was on Adesanya's side because of like you know the British were in South Africa, or the Dutch and the British, I guess you could say, were in South Africa, and apartheid and stuff like that. But anyway, so they've had this feud where MMA Guru would call out Ariel Helwani, and Ariel Helwani would never talk back to him. This is actually the first time he's ever publicly addressed the MMA Guru, because before MMA Guru would make videos getting like 200, 300,000 views, and Ariel Helwani would never respond. And I feel like a lot of this response here specifically is like him being like, "Oh, I know you wanted to come on so much so you could get the attention, but no, I'm stopping you." It's like as if he's saying like he's the one with the power, but I don't think that at all. I think the reason why he didn't want to let the MMA Guru on his show is because he would go on and like kind of you know show him up. He would say how much of a liar he is, how much of a liar the Ariel Helwani is, just throughout the years, because he has made a lot of videos, the MMA Guru. He's made a ton of videos exposing Ariel Helwani about why he's wrong and stuff like that. And I feel like Ariel Helwani wouldn't let him on his show because he wouldn't want that confrontation with the MMA Guru, because it would make him look bad. It would make Ariel Helwani look bad, make him look kind of, you know, inauthentic and unintegratable, I guess that's a word. Make him look a bit like Two-Faced. And if you want to say he didn't want to let him on because of, you know, Ariel Helwani is this big journalist, he's at Yahoo Sports, he's got his own, you know, what's it called? His own YouTube channel, his own show, the Ariel Helwani MMA show. If you want to say that, and that's why he didn't let him on, because he doesn't want to give attention to this controversial, like, basement dwelling figure like the MMA Guru, look at the numbers that each of them produce. So this is Ariel Helwani's YouTube channel. This is a show, the Ariel Helwani, or just the Ariel Helwani show. I think it used to be called the MMA show, but this is his show. So he does this, you know, every day, every 2 days. He uploads videos, obviously with the fighter interviews and all this stuff, and even he's got he'll have exclusive rights to like he'll be the moderator in like a debate, like a not a debate, I should say rather like a face off between two fighters like this one, Deontay Wilder and Chisora, because he's part of these big, you know, media companies. So here he is like having all these videos and stuff like that. One day ago, 59, 48, 47, 19, 34, 29, 56. You get the point. It's like under 100k. Like these ones have 8.8, and he's got what, like almost 400,000 subscribers. And then, well, you got to take into account he is funded by like these big companies, right? He has a show funded by these companies. You got to take that into account. Whereas the MMA Guru has a similar account size, about what, 14,000 subscriber difference, and he's getting, you know, this was 8 hours ago, 48, 342, 187, 167, 244, 234, 239. You get the point. It's like, you know, quadruple, 5 times his viewership with a similar channel. And it's and just because of that statement where he's saying like he didn't want to let him on, which is kind of implying that, you know, I don't want to let him on because I'm the bigger channel, or I'm the bigger person, in terms of like he's greater, he's bigger because he's so successful with all his shows and stuff like that. It just doesn't make any sense to say that would be the case, because it's like the viewership is not even comparable. The MMA Guru's a much bigger figure. The only reason you hear about Ariel Helwani now is because he gets put in these positions, like being a commentator at a boxing event, or he has got he doing the Olympics, doing the Winter Olympics and stuff like that, because he has the connections, because he's just this good little journalist that will do anything that the company wants, I guess, anything that Yahoo wants or anyone else. I don't know. I think he done shows for Netflix and stuff like that. He's just a guy that he can just reliably put into that. Ariel Helwani in a vacuum would not, like, no one would care, because does it, like, no one would care to watch him. No one's watching him now. Like 50K. I thought you were like the big bad journalist. You know what I mean? Whereas like everyone wants to watch, everyone's watching the MMA Guru. So there's that point, and that's kind of like the main point I wanted to make about the video, was that uh, the comparison is not there. It's not there. Ariel Helwani is just like some corporate guy. That's it. I've talked about it like a million times, but that's kind of the comparison. It's not there. But and to ultimately end off, as I said before, Ariel Helwani doesn't want to talk to the MMA Guru because of, he knows he'll get shown up. He knows the MMA Guru has his number. He'll know about all the controversy or all the beefs that Ariel Helwani's kind of stirred up, all the times he's been bad faith. He's not been true to what has actually been going. He's not been objective to what's happened in the past with different beefs and stuff like that, and different disputes. So yeah, that's kind of all I want to talk about today. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, really helps out, and I will see you later. Bye.